I don't want to get bulky. I left it too late. I'm too old. This is some of the questions that get asked all the time after a decade of training women over 40. Simple answer is you won't and you're not. Look, there's a whole ton of questions, and I'm going to give you 10 of what women ask me all the time before they've even picked up a weight. And the truth is, it's because if you're over 40, you come from a background of being told you should be doing cardio all the time. Now I'm going to give you the answers to the 10 most popular questions, most common questions. And it all comes from, I've trained women, I can think of one off the top of my head, she was 77 and lifting 55 kilos. Now, it doesn't mean she stopped at 55 kilos. She could have gone more, and I'll tell you about her. Which for our friends across the pond, 155 kilos is approximately 121, 122 pounds. It reminds me of a woman who for her 50th birthday wanted to be fit as fill in the blank and did 50 push-ups on her birthday, which inspired another woman to do 50 push-ups on her birthday. Now, the first one, when she started, could only do 3. And it took us a while, but she got there, and that was her celebration. So if you get what you've been told before that, I'm here just to spell all the facts, give you just enough information. You can do the research yourself to know that you can do this. Let's go. So here's the 10 most common questions that I've been asked over the last 10 years by women over 40. Number 1 is always, will I get bulky? Put quite simply, only if you really want to train super hard, 90 to 95% of you will not get bulky just by training 3 sessions a week. Because here's the thing, if you're looking at those women in the adverts, on Instagram, in the magazines, on the movies, they've all trained super hard. They watched everything they've eaten. They've been to the gym day and night. They might even have had a little bit of help from a few chemical substances, who knows. So everything they've done has not happened by accident. You haven't accidentally exploded and got big and bulky. And it definitely won't come from 3 sessions a week. Here's what will really happen. You'll get stronger. Your posture will change. Your hips will realign. Your knees will realign. Everything might even start working again. Your shoulders, your hips, your hips especially. And then you'll start carrying the shopping yourself from the supermarkets thinking, actually, have I got enough shopping here? My bags feel lighter than usual. You'll start picking up your grandchildren more often. That suitcase you're taking the holiday with you when you go to Lisbon, you're going to carry it off the travel later yourself and not think anything of it. And then basically, a lot of the aches and pains will go away. Or as I like to see it, the aches and pains that I've got, the aches and pains that I've got are from training, not from getting old. I've earned those aches and pains. You can be the same. Let me tell you about one of my clients. Well, I've had many like this, when they've come and they've sat with me and they've gone, I don't want to get big and bulky. And I said, well, we're going to start on the squat rack. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get big and like a power lifter. And then the day comes when they lift their own body weight on the squat rack. That's the game-changing day. All of a sudden, their posture aligns because now they're proud, not because they've got a strong back. Now they're proud. Their confidence changes. Everything about them changes. So if you're worried about this, it's something I want you to do today. I want you to go and find something that's heavy, not heavy that's going to do you damage. I mean, something like a heavy shopping bag or a suitcase, something along those lines. And just go pick it up, put it down 10 times. If it's heavy-ish, maybe get 2, 1 each side, lift up, put down. Just see what it feels like. And trust me, that's not going to turn you into a bodybuilder. Day 2 of the 10 most common questions that I've been asked by women over 40 in the last decade and a half of training with them. Does it affect my hormones during menopause? Well, hands up. I can't say I've personally been through the menopause, but I have gone side by side with many women over the last 10 years. So I've picked up a few things and I've seen, I guess, get the fact that, there's sleep deprivation, there's mood swings, there's hot and cold flushes, there's lots of things going on. But here's the real fact of it. Reality is your estrogen drops And with that, your bone density drops and your hormones go crazy. And that's the bit that really gets to people. Now, the bit that nobody really puts on the leaflets, because they really want you to go on chemicals to change this. But weightlifting has a great way of stabilizing a lot of these. If you think about it, when we put a weight and load a bone density or a bone structure, the body naturally tries to strengthen the bones to restrict it. So over time, if this weight load bearing keeps going on a bone, the body will automatically make that bone structure stronger. Your metabolism as you get stronger starts to rise, and your body deals with rushes of blood sugar a whole lot better. And with that, your sleep improves, your hormones stabilize a bit, right? And so your mood department sort of gets this house in order a whole lot better. Now, I'm not saying it's going to replace your hormones, but it definitely helps you ride out the storm. Now, I've been here, like I say, quite a few times with many women with their hot flushes and broken sleep, and how your body actually starts working against you and your mind starts thinking, what's the point? Now, I have honestly say that I've seen people after 6 months just come in and just say, everything's better than it has been for the last however many years. And it's all thanks to weight training. So give it a go. What have you got to lose? It's better than taking the chemicals, surely. Now, here's your job for today. Here's what I want you to do. Just to practice getting these going, I want you to sit down, get up. Sit down, get up from a chair. So just touch the two here onto the edge of the chair so your quads start to burn. Just do 10 times, 3 sets of 10, and see how you feel. Here we have day 3 of the top 10 questions that I've been asked by women over 40 in the last decade of training with them. How much protein do I need? Now, to be honest with you, one thing that I find a lot of the time when I do my first evaluations is the majority are not eating enough. The majority are eating about half what they actually need. And it sounds that I'm always constantly getting them to step up. As we get older, our body becomes less efficient at working our muscles. So we need more protein than when we're younger. But what happens is people start thinking that they need to sort of eat less. Well, how much you eat is based on how many calories you need, which I won't go into now, but your protein levels will need to stay up in a form of protein synthesis. Now, we're going to go just roughly here. If you're working in kilos, we're going to look at 1.6 to 1.8 or 1.6 to 2 grams per kilo. So I'd work out, I don't know, 110, 130 grams a day. If you're doing imperial, then just get your body weight in grams and then times it by 0.8. Or if you want to make it round, just by 1. And you'll end up somewhere between 120 and 150 probably. So they're slightly different to each other, but there you've got kilos, 1.6, 1.8 to the kilo, up to 2 maybe. And then if you're doing imperial, 0.8 to 1, even as much as 1.2 to how many pounds you weigh yourself. Now, it's very important to spread this over the day. So the best way of doing that is to make sure each meal you have 20 to 30 grams of protein. And you're going to need 2 snacks in the day, preferably protein snacks. If you, let's say you've got to eat, let's make it a round number, 120, 130 grams of protein a day, then you're not going to do that in 3 meals. You're going to divide it into 5 equal sections, okay? Now, this is really important, this bit, that you spread it out during the day. So the first thing I want you to do today, is where most people fail immediately, is look at your breakfast. A bit of toast and a coffee is no good. Even just granola and a coffee is no good. You need to start the day with a good protein source. Eggs, protein shake, and salmon, they're all going to work. Greek yogurt. So a good one often is Greek yogurt, blueberries in the morning, always starts really nicely. Now, As always, I like to tell you about my clients, where I've actually had clients in the past where their training's been going really well, but they've not really been building muscle. And the only thing we've changed is how much protein they eat. And then all of a sudden their physique starts changing a bit. How much protein compared to how many calories their intake is. And finally, they start building muscle. Got to remember, as you get older, it's harder to build muscle, so it's more important to get that protein. So feed your training. So here we have day 4 of my top 10 questions that I've been asked in the last 10 years for women over 40. Today is it too late to start? Is it safe to start? Let's be truthful here. It's probably more dangerous not starting. Now, I didn't start by going to the gym until I was 50. Now, the advantage I had there is I didn't have 25, 30, 40 years before me of putting myself through loads of stress and error and ego and everything else. When I started learning at 50, I had someone teach me properly. And so now, 11 years later, I've never had an injury from the gym. And the same is for you. You'll learn to do it properly. You won't be contesting with other people. You won't let the ego get in the way. In fact, I'm always telling you about my clients. I had a client, she's 77. She'd never been to the gym before. And the only reason she came to see me was because I was training her friend who was maybe 20 years younger. And then she stayed. And months later, she's lifting 55 kilos with the trap bar. And the only reason she's not lifting more is because she's so keen, I have to slow her down and keep her back. I've had her jumping on and off boxes. I've had her moving around on the floor. She's doing things she never thought she could do. And what I love hearing is when she tells me how it affects her in her everyday life. So it's never too late to start. In fact, it's always dangerous not to start. What's our task for today? I want you to do a squat. It's a normal body squat. Just stand there, feet hip width apart. Sit back as if you're going to sit on a stool or a chair, and then come back up. Do that 10 times, 3 sets of 10, and then you're doing a body squat. If you're not sure how to do it, just Google it. There's a million people out there who show you how to do it, but make sure you do it. Here we go, day 5, the 10 most common questions I get asked for women over 40 about their fitness and strength. How long will it take and when will I see results? Well, I want you to think about something for a second, because there is a case of you can overtrain. So let's get to that first. You can overtrain. Now, I'm going to use an example of a client I had once, and she came to me and she was training 5 times a week. And I think in those 5 times, she might be doing like 10 classes, like doing a class in the evening followed by yoga or Pilates or something. I can't remember exactly, but I remember her. And she was knackered, exhausted, hormones going crazy, always tired, all very, very frustrated. And first thing I did was say, right, let's stop that. Okay, I don't mind a little bit of yoga and Pilates, but let's stop the overtraining. So I gave her a strength training program. She did it on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. Now, you only need to do 45 minutes, because if you think about it, a little bit warm up, a little bit of finishing at the end, cooling down, just call it cooling down. You've got about 45 minutes in the middle, you're actually training if you do an hour session. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full body, gives you a chance to recover in between. Just by doing that, she found that she had more energy within a few weeks. She was a bit happier, more chirpy, because she was less run down, and she started feeling just a little bit stronger. Now, if you want to add to that, on a couple of the off days, very advisable to do a little bit of cardio. You could do your 10,000 steps. You could do a 30-minute run. You could do 10 minutes of skipping. I do 10 minutes of skipping. All of those are going to help your cardio. But the main thing is the 3 strength days. Now, as for the results, after a couple of weeks, she started feeling the difference in herself, basically from being less tired from overtraining. 6 to 8 weeks, she started feeling definitely stronger, and the program showed she was getting stronger because we recalled the progressive overload, the progression she's making. And within 12 weeks, I always like to give 12 weeks as a nice number, you can physically see and feel the difference. So trust me, you need to listen to this. There is such a thing as overtraining. And if you're doing all these classes and loads of HIIT and cardio and everything, give this a go. Boom, you're going to smash it. Here we have day 6 of 10 most common questions I've been asked over the last 10 years working with women over 40. You're probably going to gel with this one. How do I get rid of this belly fat? Well, that's not quite as simple as just doing exercise. The long-term answer is really down to your eating habits. But when it comes down to training, I'm afraid you've got a bit of a hormone problem and biology working against you. I always go on how strength training will help that, but the real key one to help in that is something I'm going to get to in a minute. So here's what I see by lots of women going to gyms. In all the ones I've worked at, but going to classes, not strength with like clients of my own or with other PTs. They go to 4 or 5 classes a week. They're doing spin, HIIT, dance, whatever, circuits. And all these have all got their own bonus, but generally they're not really going to target your belly. Because what actually happens is you'll get these people, they're instructors, they'll tell you, oh yeah, my class burns thousands of calories an hour, 500 calories an hour, 350 calories an hour, which at the end of the day is not really a lot. And it's burning fat, it's burning fat. Now the fact is, it's not burning fat. What actually happens is your body goes for an instant hit, and the instant hit is the sugar that's in your body. So what it does, it starts depleting your sugar levels because it's using that as fuel. Your cortisol raises, and what happens is your body then goes, hang on, we need to replace this, and it hangs on to fat. So what's really happening is your body starts working against what you're actually looking for. At the end of the day, a lot of that boils down to your eating habits more than anything else. But let's get back to the subject we're talking about. So what's the best thing you can do? Well, try this from now on. In the evening after you've eaten, go for a 20 to 30 minute walk. Just a walk. That helps all the digestion. It helps everything start working through your system. And then synchronize that with, like I've said before, 2 or 3 days of weight training. Because then what happens is you build up the muscle, increase your metabolism, and then what happens is your body starts working in a slower symbiosis to start using up those fat reserves. So it's really a combination of strength training, walking, and taking a look at your eating, like your protein levels and your fiber content. Just give that a go. So here we have day 7 of my top 10 questions I'm most frequently asked whilst training women over their 40s or 40s and onwards. Can it help with my bone density? So I've had a lot of clients over the years who are suffering from osteoporosis, and they've come because their doctors, their physios, their surgeons, whatever, have told them that large weight-bearing exercises, resistance training is going to help them. And this is a fact because as your estrogen levels drop, so your bone density becomes more, let's say, thinner, it stops growing, stops thickening. I can't think of the word I want to use, but you know, it slows down and it's not so good. But when you take this opportunity to rethink that, to reframe it, as they'd say, and I want you to think it's not as your bones getting thinner and getting more fragile, is the word I was looking for earlier, but rather they're looking for the opportunity to be strong again and to thrive again. And so with that in mind, I want you to do, we're going to go straight to what I want you to do today. And if you've done it before, I want you to maybe get a bag. What would be really good is a backpack or a rucksack, or whatever country I'm going to call it, whatever. Put some books in it so there's a bit of weight, and stand. And just go into a deep squat slowly, and then come back up slowly. So you go down slowly, come up slowly. Don't rush these. Feel it in your quads, feel it in your glutes. That's just a squat. That's a weighted squat. Do that 3 times or 10 times, but 3 sets. And then you're going to get ready to start going to the gym. Now, this is going to be the best way to put strength into your legs. If you go online, you can find lots of DEXA scans and evidence of people who had brittle bones, let's say, and then they start doing weight training, and a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, do a DEXA scan again, and the bones are so much thicker and stronger. Or you can go online and find the DEXA scans of men or women in their 50s and 60s, and then who've never trained, and then men and women in their 50s and 60s who've been training for 10, 15 years, and they're worlds apart. So I want you to think about doing that. Another one you could do, walking itself is not going to strengthen your legs in the same way as yoga is, and it's got to be weight bearing. But you could go with the same backpack and put it on your back and go for a 20-minute walk with a weight on your back. It's going to help burn fat, which I spoke about another day. You put some weight on your legs, strengthen them up. So that's something else to think about. Welcome to day 8 of the top 10 questions I've been asked over the last decade of training women over 40. Number 8. Should I do cardio or strength training? Well, let's get to the point. Cardio is good for you. Let's not forget that. Cardio is good for you. It's brilliant for the heart. It's good for the mind. It does both of these. It gets you fit. It makes you feel better about yourself. There's lots of things going for it. But the main fact of what I keep going on about is the fact that it doesn't make you strong. In fact, if anything, it can make you weaker. Just some quick sort of side travel here. Think about it like this. If you do long distance running, your body will want to make you lighter so that you can travel further. Muscle weighs twice as much as fat. So if you think about a hot air balloon, when it wants to go up, you get rid of the heaviest things first. So if you're just doing short 30-minute runs, this isn't really an issue. But if you're doing long distance running, think like this. Have you ever seen a large long distance runner? No, because your body gets rid of muscle. So just bear that in mind. So yes, do cardio. But what happens is I find loads of clients when they first come to me, because they don't know what to do, they go on the treadmill excessively, or they do running because it's easier, just put some trainers off and off you go. And they're running 3, 4, 5 times a week and not really accomplishing much. So my first thing to everybody is, if in a perfect world, I'd say do 3 days strength, 2 days cardio. That is in a perfect world. Now, if you're doing running, I might start by just saying, okay, well, let's do 1 or 2 days strength training and see how you get on. Because I would say at least half my clients do running. And I would also say that after years and years of doing this, the people who only used to do treadmill running with me, when I get them on to do strength training, they end up running better anyway. So I could name clients from the last decade, but there's just so many, it's not really worth it. So what I would say to you, though, is if you're one of these people who only goes on the treadmill and the cycle machine and only does running, just give this week, if you're in a gym, go and pick a few machines. In fact, I would recommend the leg press, the horizontal leg press, so it's not weight bearing down on you, it's from side to side, and give that a go. 3 sets of 10, the weight that's kind of 8 out of 10, which we explained before. Then if you're up for it, maybe do a few other machines, one for your back, one for your shoulders, one for your chest, and a couple for your lower body, hamstring, quads and glutes, and just see how you get on. Or if you're not up for that, then in your own house, just lick up some big weights and do some slow squats, holding those weights in your hand. And those weights could be shopping bags full of shopping. Just give it a go. Right, so let's get to number 9 then. Will I get injured? That's a common question. And to be fair, you won't get injured from lifting heavy. You'll only get injured by lifting too soon. Now, here's the point. It's generally the ego or bad programming that leads to injury. I've got to be honest, generally women don't suffer from the ego from lifting. It's generally my male clients who want to go too soon. But anyway, if we do it properly, you need to learn the technique first. And even if you know the technique, go for your proper warm-ups. So I spend ages teaching technique. Technique is everything. Mobility and technique before load and weight. Okay? So you learn the technique first. Then, over a period of time, we're going small weights bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. You might only be going up small amounts each week or each month. It doesn't have to be every week. It's when you're ready. And that's where the programming comes in. Now, after that, you'll find that everything around you is getting stronger as well. Your limbs, your tendons, your nerve endings, or your joints, your fascia, everything gets stronger at the same time. Therefore, you're becoming more injury proof, not injury prone. I've got many examples of this, okay? And one of my favourites is I had a client, she came to me, she used to do classes all the time, used to do some of these Les Mills classes, which I'm not knocking them, but that's what she was at the time. And she used to do all these fast squats. And she came to me just to improve her squat. And we spent 3 sessions doing her squat. She was brilliant. She mastered it properly, depth, technique, everything. Then she went back to the class and got told off by the teacher because she wasn't doing them fast enough to keep up with the music in the class. She came back to me, and a year later, she's lifting 1.5 times her own body weight and getting so much satisfaction out of lifting the heavy weight. So, technique is everything. I've also had clients who have come with bad backs and they've been told by their doctors not to lift heavy weights. And to be fair, that's because a doctor has only ever seen the injuries from lifting badly. I've only ever seen the rewards from people lifting properly. And if you're doing squats, for example, then you're going to learn how to move properly over a period of time with big weights, therefore your whole body strengthens. So I can only rave about the amount of people I've seen with back problems get rid of them because they've strengthened everything. So what I want you to do today, well, if you're in the gym, I don't know how you train, but all you do is to drop your weight by maybe 20% in one of your big lifts and just do the same reps, but much slower. You know, what I like to teach is a 1-to-3 tempo or 3-to-1 tempo. Okay, you might be doing a 1-to-1. Maybe turn it to a 1-to-5 or 5-to-1. That's in 1 second in one direction and 5 in the other. In the resistance part where you're fighting gravity, that's the slow bit. Remember, patience isn't boring. Patience is effectiveness. Here we have day 10 of my 10 most frequent questions I get asked by women over 40. My name's Carl and I've been working with women over 40 for just over a decade, so over 10 years, and I've compiled the 10 most common questions that I get asked. So coming in at number 10 in no particular order. How often should I eat around training? Now, this really is a big one because so often, and it happens more in women than men, I'm generalizing, but many women come to train hard because they want to lose weight, get strong. I want you to get strong. Weight's not really my thing so much, but I want you to get strong. So they train hard, but then they go on some sort of crazy diet. And think about it, your fuel is what's going to make you strong. It builds your muscle. So you're doing extra work here, but you're cutting your fuel here. It's craziness. It's absolute craziness. And there's nothing wrong with dieting, okay? Nothing wrong, depending how you do your diet, but we're not going to get into that. So the main thing is that you need fuel to train. It's as simple as that. You need protein to build muscle. So the most common thing that I've come a lot over the years is women not having breakfast because they don't want to eat till lunch, and then they're training with me in the morning. So they've gone all night from 6 o'clock round to the morning, and they're training basically fasted. Now, when you do big weights, you use a lot of energy because you're using every muscle in your body generally. You're not just doing a little aerobics class or something. And whether you do an aerobics class with fasted is another topic for conversation. But here, you need fuel. You need fuel to train, and then you need fuel after to replace everything you've lost. That's a simple fact. Fuel before and definitely fuel after. If sometimes you skip it, then it's not a big deal, but generally, okay? So what I do with a lot of people, I just say, look, let's start having that breakfast. Let's get that protein in. You need 30 grams of protein before you come and train with me. And that can be egg and avocado on toast. That's a firm favourite. Boiled eggs with fingers. another firm favourite. Yogurt with fruit, another firm favourite. Greek yogurt preferably. So just start working on that. It doesn't have to be big. You just need a little bit of fuel for when you're training with me. You don't have to fill yourself up. It's fuel for training. Then after you've trained, you need to replace the energy you've lost. So remember there, we're fueling our training session. That's the main thing. Now, as a woman over 40, one thing you really have to work with is the fact you go through a thing called anabolic resistance, which means your body starts needing more protein, just the everyday activities in life, because you're in a blunt way starting to deteriorate. Don't worry, men deteriorate as well. I'm not picking on you. So your body starts to deteriorate. So you actually start needing to up your protein anyway. So this is where your food comes in. I would say is small breakfast in the morning if you're training in the morning. If you're not training in the afternoon, then lunch is fine. Okay, but if you're training in the morning particularly, okay, it can even be a protein shake with a banana. When you finish training, you're also going to need a little something. So if you're going to have lunch, that's fine. If you're not going to have lunch, then what I just said, protein shake and a banana is adequate. Just get something from your local shop. So our main thing is you've got to remember training is your stimulus, food is your fuel, and your response. They're the sandwich, okay? Food, training, food. So I hope you enjoyed those 10 little pointers there. They weren't there to purely educate you because all the information on there was only brief and you can find everything you want a million times just by going on the internet. What it was meant to do is to make you realise that you're not alone in the room and many women over 40 are asking exactly those same 10 questions. So that's the point. You're all worried about what happens if you do or don't start strength training. Where all this comes from is you were sold a story different to how I was told a story. I was told, get in the gym, get strong. You were told, go and do a cardio workout. Why? Simply because that's easier to market and easier to sell. You were told to fear weights and just jump around. That's wrong. That's not what you need to be doing. And all that bulk you're scared of, well, you simply haven't got the testosterone for that, no matter how you look at it. So what will actually happen is you'll build nice, strong, capable bodies. And you're going to build a lean body. It's going to work in your favor. And that belly fat, same as I've got here. Well, I know you got to a certain age and it started just coming out of nowhere. Well, for you, you've got hormones messing around with you. We all have this body that's quietly disappearing. The muscles are fading, the bones are fading. And the only thing that reverses that is resistance training, overloading of weight. Those bones you're going to be using at 70, they're only going to get strong by progressive stress on them, so they have to keep themselves strong. And then they'll get denser every time you load them up. You won't get that from walking. Walking's good for you. You won't get that from yoga. So yoga's good for you. It has to be progressive overload, more and more weight. And you know what? These training sessions I'm trying to get you to do, they don't be as crazy or as intense as you think. They do have to be challenging though. And you have to do them, I would say, 3 times a week. Not 4, not 5, not 7. You don't have to go out every day. Just 3 challenging ones a week. Now, while you're doing all this lifting and putting your body under stress, obviously it needs fuel. That's the other thing you need to look at. You need to make sure your protein is there to rebuild the body that is naturally breaking down and that you're overloading and putting stress on. And where the most common place that fades is breakfast. So keep an eye on that breakfast. Now, I'm not saying you have to have breakfast every day if that's not your thing, but it's advisable to have breakfast, particularly on training days. But if you can throughout the week, it's going to help you because your protein synthesis is going to stay inactive. It's all going to help you repair. It's going to help you recover quicker. So bear all that in mind. All this, along with rest and having fun, and maybe in your off days, just being active. I read just the other day, if you think about this, spend a third of our life sleeping, third of our life, the average person spends sitting, or the third of a day sitting. That's a third of the day being inactive, and a third of your life being inactive. So on your days when you're not working or sleeping, be active, keep it up. So what do I want you to do now? Every day I should do something. Well, as always, I want you to go out there, lift up some weights. Get on it, lift it. Boom. Start it all now. But above all, stay strong, keep smiling. So listen, if this got you started, please let me know, because I'd love to know that I inspired somebody to go on and do something. So what you really need to know is that after a couple of weeks, you're going to feel a difference. In about 6 weeks, you're really going to notice a difference. And in about 3 months, people are going to start telling you that there's a difference. Trust me on that.